Want to connect a REST API to Airtable? In this tutorial, I'll show you how to use the Data Fetcher extension to pull data from any external API directly into Airtable. We'll use a football data API as an example, but the same steps work for any API you want to connect. Open your Airtable base and go to Tools, then Extensions. Then add an extension. Search for Data Fetcher. Click Add, then Add Extension. Sign up for a free account with your email or Google account, or log in if you already have one. Once you're in, click Create your first request. In the Application dropdown, select Custom. This lets us create a completely custom API request that works with any REST API. Next, we'll enter the URL for the API endpoint that returns our data. For this example, we'll use the Football Data API, which provides football competition data. Paste in the following URL. We've also included this link in the video description so you can copy and paste it directly. Next, we'll need to add parameters. Parameters help narrow down the data you get from an API. Without them, you'd get all competitions worldwide, but here we'll filter just for English football. Click Add under Parameters. Under Parameter, enter Areas, and for value, enter 2072. This tells the API to only return football competitions from England. 2072 is the country's unique ID in the Football Data API. You'll notice the URL automatically updates to include your parameter. Now let's rename the request to Fetch Competitions so we can easily identify it later. Make sure the output table and view are set to where you want the data to appear. Then click Save and Run to continue. Data Fetcher will now connect to the API and open the response field mapping screen. Click Deselect All to start fresh, then select the fields you want to import. We'll start with Competition's ID and rename it to ID. Next, scroll across to Competition's name and map it to your existing name field. Then we'll select Competition's emblem and rename it to Emblem. After that, choose Competition's type, rename it to Type, and change the field type to Single Select. You can also use the search bar at the top to find specific fields more quickly. Let's find Competition's current season start date and rename it to Current Season Start Date, setting the field type to Date. And once you've made your selections, toggle Show Selected First to review everything you've added. If everything looks good, click Save and Run. Data Fetcher will now create the new fields in your table and import the football data into Airtable. If you return to your table, you'll see the imported records appear. Some APIs require authorization or additional headers to access certain data or higher rate limits. Here's how to add those in Data Fetcher. Open your request and click the Authorization tab. Select your authorization type. For this example, we'll choose Basic. Then enter your credentials from your API provider. Most APIs provide these keys in your account dashboard when you sign up. Next, click the Headers tab to add any custom headers your API might require. Some common headers you might use are Content Type, which tells the API what kind of data you're sending, usually JSON, Accept, which tells it what format you want the response in, and API Version, if you need to request a specific version of the API. Each API is a little different, so check your documentation for the exact names and values to use. For this example, under Header, we'll add API Version as the header name, and for the value, we'll enter 1.1. Now you've got your headers, authorization, and parameters all set. Right now, you'll need to click Run each time to update your data. To keep your Airtable base in sync automatically, let's schedule it. Scheduling is part of Data Fetcher's paid plan, so first you need to upgrade your account. Then, under the Schedule tab, click Authorize. Select Add All Resources, then click Grant Access. Once authorized, toggle Schedule this request on. Choose how often you want to fetch new data. For this example, we'll go with every day. And click Save. From now on, Data Fetcher will automatically pull updated data from your REST API on your chosen schedule. And that's it. You've connected a REST API to Airtable using Data Fetcher. You can now use the same process to connect any API, weather data, cryptocurrency prices, or marketing analytics, whatever your workflow needs. Check the description below for the example endpoint we used and links to additional documentation.